Hello guys, today I'm doing an $800 gaming PC build. I was gonna do a $700 build, but while I was making the list of parts, it came out a little weak, so I bumped it up to $800. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, so let's get started with the CPU. This time I went with the Ryzen 5 3600. It has 6 cores, 12 threads. It's similar to the Ryzen 1600 AF, except it is the latest version. It's a Zen 2 Generation 3 CPU. It is extremely powerful and performant, sometimes even keeping up with the Ryzen 2700 in terms of gaming performance. And it is unlocked, comes with the Rate Stealth cooler, and is one of the best bang for buck CPUs you can have for a gaming rig at this point in time. Alright, now moving on to the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte B450 DS3H. This is the same motherboard I used in my $520 build. It supports AMD's 1st and 2nd gen. However, if you buy it recently on Amazon, it also has the BIOS updated for the 3rd gen Ryzen CPU support, so the 3600 should work on this. If not, just try to buy a cheap Ryzen 1st gen CPU just to upgrade the BIOS, and then just keep it around in case you need it later. It has all the bells and whistles I went over in the last video. It can support multiple PC case fans. It has 2 PCIe times 16 slots. One of them is 3.0 for the GPU. It has an NVMe drive, 4 slots for RAM. And it does not support PCIe 4.0, just 3.0, but for this build this is more than enough. Series DDR4 16GB of RAM. It's a 1-stick module with 3200 MHz of bandwidth. Its latency I believe is 16. Actually I think it might be 15 or 16 based on the tested timings versus base timings. However, I want to just make a disclaimer about the RAM. The RAM prices have been changing very fast. Between the first 2 videos on my PC builds that I've made, the RAM prices kept fluctuating. So this is the one that I could find that has one of the sellers selling it for $68. However, by the time this video goes out, this might change. I would suggest get any stick of RAM that's 16GB, 3200 MHz with a latency of 16 that you can find for around $70. If you can find that, that should work great with this build. So it doesn't have to be this item exactly. Alright, so for the GPU, I went with the GTX ZOTAC 1660 Super 6GB video card. This card is a 1440p card for most games in the market right now. Though for some games that are very demanding, like Red Dead Redemption 2, you will have to turn the settings down to 1080p at like high or medium in order to get a constant 60. But nevertheless, for 1080p ultra and even 1440p medium high settings at 60 FPS, this card is perfect for what you will need. It has fairly long-term use as well. It is a Turing card. It has the most latest NVIDIA encoders for video rendering if you're choosing to do that. It doesn't have ray tracing, but ray tracing is a very new technology right now, so I would not worry about getting that for a build this cheap. Instead, it's better off waiting a couple of years until they mature that technology. But for everything else, this card is more than good enough for what you will need. On power, 1TB NVMe M.2 PCIe drive. Now there are 2 versions that I would recommend for this build. One is the 1TB version, if you can afford it, which should cost you $130. However, if the price of the build goes overboard, like it's more than $800, then the first thing I would recommend you scale back would be the storage. Instead, get the 512GB version for around $70 to maybe $75. Both of those versions are pretty good. This is one of the faster NVMe drives with a read speed of 3400 megabytes and a write speed of 3000 megabytes. This is both faster than the Western Digital Blue as well as the the Pioneer, I believe, that I recommended in the last video. I already forgot what it was, but it is one of the fastest drives out there for PCIe 3.0, and it will do basically everything you need to do storage wise. And if you're gonna get the 1TB version, that would be really great for future games in order to store a lot of games on your PC. Alright, so now we get into the PSU, the power supply unit. For this, I would recommend the Thermaltake Smart 600W ATX 80+ white certified PSU. This is very similar to the $400 version of this that I've recommended in the previous 2 videos. And yeah, it almost is the same product, except this one allows you to take 600 watts from your wall. I really can't say much about this. In order to fit everything else into the budget, I had to like cheap out on the PSU. But that doesn't mean it's a bad PSU, it's still a certified one. It will last you 3, maybe 4 years without any issue. And the warranty I believe is 5 years. Yeah, I think it is 5 years, so you can always just change this out for a different PSU in the future. If you are going to upgrade, I would recommend getting a 80 plus bronze or 80 plus gold or platinum. White is good enough for like 3-4 years, but it's basic. It's basic, but it's good and it's still reliable, and you can't go wrong with this for this price. It is $58. So yeah, you can use this. However, you can also use the 430 watt version, which I believe is $38. That one is cheaper, but it should still provide enough power to power the whole system without any issues. So whichever one you choose, I would recommend the Thermaltake Smart Series. Alright guys, so finally we get to our PC case. For this one I went with the Cooler Master MCB-Q300L-Con-S00 Micro ATX Tower. And that's a mouthful. This is a very budget case. It comes in at $44. If you include the... well, it's $44 for me. Anyways, it comes with a couple of PC fans. I will include an optional fan at the end of this video. It can support micro ATX as well as an ATX power supply, so the PSU I recommended should work with this. It's ventilated, it has a glass side panel, a USB 3.0 and 2.0. Sorry, I can't speak right now. Yeah, it's a fairly basic case, but it should be enough for this. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything fancy for this. It had to fit under $800, and this is the best high rating case that I could fit into it. Alright guys, so here at the end of the video, I want to include an optional fan upgrade. For $7 you can get the Arctic P12 Silent. This is just in case the case does not come with the front fan, because there are some reviews that say that it didn't, but others that said that it did. And if it only comes with one fan in the front, you can always install this one as a second fan in order to keep your PC case well ventilated. And yes, the total cost of the build comes around $796, which is just shy of $800, so this fits into budget. And yes, this is a max setting 1080p gaming machine, but it can also do 1440p at high settings, and in some games you will have to turn down to medium settings. And it can do everything non-ray traced with good frame rates. Yeah, that's all I can really say about this. Hope you guys have a good one. In the next gaming PC video, it will be my last one for April. We'll cover a $1,000 build. And other than that, I will do a series for the month of May after that. So yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.